Thank you for calling Hail Mary Hotline. This is Bridget. Please hold while I transfer you.
Welcome back to Hail Mary Hotline. I'm your host, Taylor.
I'm your host, Sarah.
And this is for all you people who decided you wanted our 2 cents on the rest of the football things from the last 2 weeks, because there's been a lot.
The last 3 days, even.
Yeah, definitely the last 3 days. And we'll just start there, why don't we? Lane Kiffin. Oh my.
The Lane train has left the Ole Miss station and has landed in
Baton Rouge.
Rouge.
This is one of the wildest stories that I've seen in a while.
I think it's so dragged out, and I think it's so overdramatic for no reason. I think that he could have left a lot quieter. I think that he could have cleaned it up better.
He likes the attention.
He definitely plays it like he does.
Given his track record, I think he likes the attention.
So, I typed up a quick little rundown of his kind of collegiate career just for,
Context.
for context clues and for
Yeah.
everybody who does not keep up with all of these coaches in an insane way. He is, to put it in perspective, 14 years as a coach. He's 117-53 record, 9 bowl appearances, but 5-4 in said bowl appearances.
Yeah.
Putting that out there. So from 08 to 09, he spent 1 season at Tennessee, and he left for USC in the middle of the night. One of the worst reactions that, in my opinion, in football history, was Knoxville reacting to him leaving, and it was burning matches in the street. It was carving his name into trees. It was calling for his life, not just his job. It was burning down Knoxville.
It was
horrible.
awful. Yeah. That's why they threw mustard and golf balls at him a couple years ago, because they're still mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, very Tennessee of them to do, but still, there's no excuse for that, no matter how upset you are with your coach leaving.
No.
But...
And then from 09 to 2013, he was at USC. He rebuilt them to a preseason number 1 team in 2012, and then they fell to 7-6 that same season. And then he was very famously fired on the tarmac at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, not a very quiet leaving either,
No.
but he still...
Better than Tennessee.
Better than Tennessee, but...
Not much.
Does not go down without a little bit of flair.
Yeah.
The next 2 years, enter the Saban coaching tree. He is now Alabama's OC and was dismissed for prioritizing a possible job at FAU.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been a theme here, as he keeps the team in his back pocket. Now, from 16 to 19, FAU goes 21-6 across 2 seasons. Not bad.
No.
He wins a CUSA title. Immediate leaves, for I'll put it in big bold air quotes, as one true love, because that's where he's been the longest, Ole Miss. Now we get from 2019 to present day.
Present day as of November 30th.
Yeah, as of November 30th. Brings Ole Miss multiple 10-win seasons, basically rebuilds them from the ground up, becomes their entire program, has a really high player turnover, really honestly weaponizes, but the transfer portal and NIL takes the most advantage of it, and it shows.
He's a very modern coach in that sense. He's not like Saban and honestly like Kirby, where he's like, no, I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm going to do things the old-fashioned way. He's very aware that if he's going to, build his program, especially at a place like Ole Miss that doesn't necessarily have the resources of some of these other programs, he needs to weaponize the transfer portal and make use of what he does have so that he can have a competitive team.
Yeah. And he's always been smart that way.
Yeah.
But there's always been, 1 or 2 yearly pocket rumors of him leaving. Oh, what if he goes here? What if he goes there? Whatever. But he's been, what we've thought, very faithfully committed to Ole Miss, it sounds like, until maybe, I'll say 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When I think the first rumors of him either going to Florida or LSU were the huge ones. People just kind of threw in whenever they wanted to after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, okay, well, he's being super vague in press conferences, and he's not really saying much about it, about his possible contract extension with Ole Miss, or take your pick, they're not talking about it. So, came down to decision time. He was seen flying to both Florida and LSU, so do with that what you will. It was decision time.
It was.
So now it comes to last weekend. He was announced to make a decision before the Egg Bowl. got pushed back. He was announced to make a decision in the, post-game conference after the Egg Bowl. Got pushed back. And then he was announced to meet with the AD and announced decision prior to the Iron Bowl. Pushed back. And then he was supposed to make a decision after the Iron Bowl. Hashtag free Marty Smith.
Yes. Oh, God, poor guy.
Got pushed back.
Oh, my gosh.
And then, so Marty Smith appeared on the screen of every single SEC game that weekend, because my family, we had a bunch of people over on Saturday for like a Friendsgiving type thing, and we were on YouTube TV, so we had 4 games up at once, and I swear every single halftime at least, if not some commercial breaks, was Marty Smith, Marty Smith, Marty Smith, Marty Smith.
Well, I mean, he was in Oxford since Friday because he was doing coverage for SEC Nation about the Egg Bowl. And from my understanding, he was told that he couldn't leave until he got a statement from Lane Kiffin about his decision, which for him meant that he was up for like 48 straight hours because all of these decision times kept getting pushed back and kept getting pushed back. And Marty Smith texted Kiffin because they're decent friends and was like, hey, do you have a timeline? And Kiffin never answered him.
I was at like 9 o'clock at night on Saturday.
Yeah. And then Kiffin was supposed to have a meeting with his players on Sunday morning to announce. And then that got pushed back to, I think, 2 p.m. And then he just never showed up. And I don't remember if the AD announced it or if Kiffin himself announced it. But eventually, Sunday afternoon, it was official that Kiffin was leaving for LSU. But never had a meeting with the players.
I think in that same sentence, though, they were trying to hire their new head coach. And so I think that was a lot of Kiffin was trying to interview for that. And, some other behind the scenes things. I think it was insane trying to get him out of Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And Marty Smith, who interviewed him basically on the tarmac,
leaving for Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fought so hell and high water to get there.
Yeah.
I
that he
say.
did. Yeah.
But that's kind of where we are. We're caught up. He is now in LSU. I think that with the few press conferences that he's had and the audience that he's come in front of, he feels really good about his decision. I think that he wanted to leave Ole Miss in a better light. I do truly believe it. I think he wanted to talk to his players.
See, I don't know. I don't think he did.
Okay.
I just... I really think that he didn't think he could face them because Ole Miss secured their first ever playoff spot. Like, realistically, they're going to be in the playoffs. And instead of, congratulating them for all their hard work, he's essentially saying, hey, I'm leaving y'all for something better, to go to a program that is barely bowl eligible, I think, and has so much, dumpster fire going on in their administrative, area. The governor is involved in the coaching decision. Mm-hmm. That should tell you about the state of LSU. And I just don't think that he had it in him to look at his players and say, yeah, y'all have done great, but I'm going to go build another program because y'all haven't done enough for me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
a mess.
It's all political.
It is political. And I just think that it's very interesting. I've seen comments from a couple of the Ole Miss players. Kiffin really wanted to coach Ole Miss through the playoffs, but the Ole Miss athletic department said there ain't no way that's happening because all that gives him is an extra month to poach their players and their coaching staff. Which, I get it. If I'm Ole Miss in this scenario, I'm saying, nope, you're gone. You're done. But Kiffin said in his announcement, he said, no matter how much my team wanted me to coach and however much I wanted to coach through the playoffs, we made the decision that I was not going to. And the players commented and said that was not the general sense of the locker room. Which I think kind of says a lot.
And that whole AD meeting was, I think, arguments over him getting to coach in the playoffs. Which, yeah, no, I believe you. If I'm Ole Miss, I wouldn't let him stay that long because come January 2nd, you have the one-time winter portal. They're all out.
Oh, yeah. And he told a lot of his coaching staff, he said, if you don't get on the plane with me to go to Baton Rouge right now, you're not going to have a job. And so he took a good bit of their coaching staff with him before the playoffs even. Yeah. And they hired DC Pete Golding to be the new official head coach of Ole Miss football. And I saw he said something at their basketball game about, however many days from now, we're going to be in the playoff and we're going to win. Which, great for him for making the best out of a bad situation. Mm-hmm. I think the players really are behind him. And are willing to play for him. But it's just, you lead a school that really hasn't done a whole lot of anything football-wise to its first ever playoff spot, and you leave. I don't get it.
I don't know what it is about LSU, but I think the consensus at my house and pretty much with anybody that I've really talked to over this is that Ole Miss was the job.
It was.
He's not going to get a whole lot better than Ole Miss, what he built at Ole Miss, what Ole Miss was for him, who he is to Ole Miss, and just because treated it very poorly.
If you stay there and don't go to LSU, you will forever be the hero in Ole Miss football. Because
100%.
What you've done for that program, multiple 10-win seasons from somebody that really hadn't seen much since Eli Manning was there. It's just, you stay there, you are, like, you have made yourself a legend to Ole Miss football. And to treat it so poorly and like it was just the next stepping stone to, the job that you really want, which, who's to say that LSU isn't going to be the same thing? If a better job comes along, is he going to do the same thing? And I saw something I thought was really interesting. If Alabama had lost the Iron Bowl, I had seen a lot of rumors that Kalen DeBoer was going to go to Penn State and that Kiffin was holding out until after the Iron Bowl because he wanted that Alabama job.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we had talked a little bit, I don't know how much we've actually said on here, but if Alabama had lost the Iron Bowl, that they were going to go for DeBoer's job.
Mm-hmm. I think they might have. And depending on how this weekend goes, if they don't make the playoffs again, I could see it. I really could.
I could definitely see it being put out there that they're considering it. I don't know who they would get right now because I think that's a great sentence to move on with. There are 23 FBS schools who will see a new head coach next season so far, and 6 are in the SEC.
And Virginia Tech, I think, did a great job of hopping on Franklin early because
100%.
like that's a program that can't get much worse.
Okay, I had a great conversation post-Iron Bowl with somebody at my house over this. So if you're Virginia Tech, James Franklin is the best thing that could ever happen to you.
Absolutely.
They were holding out for, I think, one of the G5 coaches, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, where you bring James Franklin in. Virginia Tech is a dumpster fire of a program. They have nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
They are at rock bottom.
That they are.
And now they come in, great big shiny James Franklin, who's played at Penn State, who, granted, is 4-24 against top 25 teams, but when you're Virginia Tech and you don't play top 25 teams, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So you get to bring them to a winning season for 3-4 years, do whatever you're going to do, get your big shiny contract, get your recruiting budget, whatever, bring them up to, top of the ACC. And then once you do that, they're going to wait for one of those great big G5 coaches who are doing really well and say, oh, okay, well, he's in now. We're going to kick out James Franklin. We're going to bring in him, and he's going to be the great big bang for Virginia Tech, and James Franklin's going to be out of a job. And that's where I think he either hightails to the NFL and tries for a coordinator job, or he just takes his Penn State money and retires.
Which I could see. Although he's not getting quite as much money from Penn State now that he's been hired by Virginia Tech, but still, man's made enough money over the years. Maybe.
Like, you see where I'm going with the branch there?
I do.
So.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, just putting it out there.
Yeah. I saw something on Instagram today. We'll get to Penn State in a little bit. There's a lot more to say about that. But somebody commented, Penn State should really check in on that Virginia Tech head coach, James Franklin, for the Penn State job. And I was like, that's crazy. But more on them later. There's a lot to say about that, too. But
there were a lot of other coaching jobs this season kind of snuck in under the belt with Lane Kiffin, but
Arkansas got the guy from Memphis.
Yeah. So Arkansas got Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, and there's a big fat question mark next to that because people are protesting on the Hill with Save Arkansas banners and posters, which I think is hilarious.
When both SEC shorts and roll call don't even say the man's name, they just say, I think you got the guy from Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He who will not be named.
No, he who will not be named. Good luck, Arkansas. I'm so sorry. It's just, yikes. Yeah.
They've been put through the ringer. They just...
Yeah. And it's not going to get better. I hate to break it to you. But That's okay.
Makes for good TV, though.
That it does. Auburn, I think, actually landed a really good coach. Alex Golish from USF. He has a 6-year deal. He's currently 9-3 with USF. They've had a pretty good season, all things considered.
I think they've had a really decent turnaround season.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that, as far as AC goes, that they've had kind of a losing season the past couple of years, but I think that this could be a really good change for them.
I think so.
I think that Auburn seems to be accepting him with wide open arms and why didn't we get you sooner type deal.
Auburn is very excited. So I think that's actually a really good hire for them. I think it may take him a season just because of, Auburn's got a lot to figure out right now. Their defense is still pretty good, I will say. Despite all of the issues that were Hugh Freeze coaching, their defense was not an issue. It was their offense.
Their defense has a really good foundation. They have great bones. They've had it all season. I think that that's been their only sliver of consistency with 3 quarterbacks, all of their offensive ordeals, because they have receivers out too, with Freeze, who I don't think you can do much worse than. And if you're an Auburn fan, this is, oh my gosh, it's like winning the lottery.
I saw a Thanksgiving post from one of the Auburn pages. I don't remember if it was like Old Row or Barstool or whatever, but somebody said, "What are you thankful for?" And an Auburn fan commented, "No more Hugh Freeze." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." But
Yeah,
I think this is a good hire for them.
I think so.
Absolutely. But Kentucky finally fired Mark Stoops. I never thought I would see the day.
I thought I would die before Kentucky fired Mark Stoops.
And he still has a massive buyout. It's like 30-something million.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me.
Supposed to be paid in 2 months, mind you. Is
Yeah,
the source
I don't know
that I
about
saw.
Basketball money.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to hire Will Stein, offensive coordinator from Oregon, for a 5-year contract. I don't know. We'll see. I do kind of like not just getting another recycled head coach and getting somebody different and giving him a shot. Because, again, you got shut out and blown out by Louisville.
If they need anything, it's an offensive mind.
Yeah, they do. Big time.
So I think this was a smart hire. I think 5 years is a very safe contract number, especially if you're jumping from somebody like Stoops, who's been there for as long as the dinosaurs have. So
at least 10 years, because Kirby's been here for 10, who is now the longest tenured coach in the SEC.
Yeah.
And had a much better record than
long
Stoops.
prophesied Mark Stoops
Yes,
firing.
oh my gosh. Really never thought I would see the day. I'm going to be so honest.
I thought it was fake. I'm not gonna lie. For the first 4 posts that I saw, I was like, "There's no way."
Like somebody got CFB on facts. Like there's no way. But nope, it's real. The more you know. And then Florida hired John Summerall from Tulane, and when I first saw this, I kind of thought, oh, that's probably a good hire. He's done a good job at Tulane. But then, again, thank you, Roll Call, for pointing out that his resume is quite identical to Billy Napier's. So we shall see. Florida fans are not super happy. I've seen a lot of people say this is just Napier 2.0. I don't know. I think he's got a lot to prove for Florida fans, for sure.
I think so. I think that it'll all depend on, again, a building season, see what he does with Florida's resources. 'Cause I think that could be a huge difference.
I do too. And now we're going to talk about Penn State a little bit. So they were, I think, one of the first, if not the first, to start kind of the coaching carousel madness that was this season by firing Franklin so early. And given that they were one of the first programs to fire their coach, they haven't been looking at all. I've seen a few names pop up. Like I saw at one point Brent Key was rumored to get the Penn State job, but I don't know. I know they wanted the guy from BYU, and seen a lot about that he pretty much said, no, I'm staying at BYU. And I also think that Crumble Cookie would have initiated a war if they took him.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But Penn State has done really no work in actually trying to find a head coach. And so all of these other coaches have been snatched up. And what is Penn State left with? I don't know. Do you get DeBoer to leave Alabama? Do you get Brent Key to leave Georgia Tech? Because I think those are your best 2 options.
I think that there was kind of a joking rumor about Vandy's head coach leaving, and then he signed a 6-year extension, so...
Well done, Vandy.
Yeah, hard pass. Well done.
Yes. But anyway, coming up this weekend is Conference Championship weekend, and we actually have some pretty exciting matchups, I think. And as much as it, physically pains me to say it, that Georgia is playing Alabama for the SEC Championship, it's going to be a good game. It just... I say through gritted teeth with an eye twitch, but...
I morally cannot attend this game, cannot
be within 100 miles of this game,
cannot drive through Midtown because it's too close to the stadium. It's gonna be a hard week.
It's gonna be bad. And again, legally, I don't think I can say what I think the result of this game is going to be,
or what I want the result of the game to be, because
just no comments. The game will happen. Game day will be there, which is so great. It's so great, because why wouldn't they be?
And everybody's okay. Well, on the point of game day, let's put a pin in that. Big 12 is up in arms about it. Oh my goodness.
Big whoop. Ohio State, Indiana. This is rematch of Georgia, Alabama. You should have gone to the first one, but you went somewhere else that weekend. I don't remember where. But that was undoubtedly the biggest game of that weekend, and they pass it up for I don't even remember why.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that Big Ten is all offended that they don't want to go see Ohio State, Indiana. Georgia, Alabama is going to be a better game.
And, okay, if we're going to talk networks, which one's on ESPN? Georgia, Alabama. Which one's on Fox? That should tell you.
Sorry.
Just pointing it out, they're going to stay in network.
Yep.
That's where the views are. It's not like Georgia, Alabama isn't going to be the most watched game of the weekend anyway.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Because even if you're not a Georgia or Alabama fan, if you are an SEC football fan, if you're a football fan in general, that is the game that you're going to watch. Especially given how
game.
And
yeah. It's something that you don't really talk about as a Georgia fan, and something that we legally and morally cannot talk about. Otherwise, it won't happen, or it will. So,
I'll just point out the possible outcomes of this for the moment.
Try not to put any emphasis on one over the other.
Assuming that Alabama wins, Bama's in the playoffs. Georgia's still in the playoffs, even if Alabama wins. If Georgia wins, I tend to think that Alabama is not in the playoffs, because there'll be a 3-loss team to Georgia, Oklahoma, and Florida State. And I'm not really sure that you can justify a 3-win team, no matter how good their strength of schedule is, over some of these other teams. But more on that next week, because that's all we can say about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. So you've heard our definite 2 cents on Georgia, Alabama. As shocker if you've been here for more than 30 seconds, since it's kind of a Georgia podcast. Ohio State, Indiana, BYU, Texas Tech. BYU is, moving up in the world.
They're 11-1. They're only lost to Texas Tech. So I look for this to be another good game.
Their first team out right now. So,
but if they win,
but if they win,
kind of shakes things up a little bit. So yeah. I wouldn't mind that.
I think that all is going to depend on, again, how the ACC goes.
This is the big one, which is, first of all, the fact that Duke, based on whatever kind of tiebreakers they have, has made it to the ACC championship is a joke. But if Duke wins, neither Duke nor Virginia will get in the playoff, because it's not necessarily Power 4 conference champions and your group of 5, rest champion. It's
highest ranked.
Yes, which, if Duke wins the ACC championship, would come down to the winner of North Texas and Tulane, and probably James Madison.
So it would probably be Tulane and James Madison in the playoffs.
Which is wild.
Which is insane. But again, as, the season goes on and on, I'm becoming a bigger fan of the 12-team playoff. So
yes. I saw something today, actually, before we sat down to record this. It was something, I don't remember the exact number, but if Florida State had just won a couple more games than Miami would have been in the ACC championship. I don't know how it works, because their tiebreaker stuff is confusing.
And the first team out,
but somebody said Norvell was playing chess, not checkers, because if he couldn't win, at least he kept Miami out of the ACC championship, and I was like, wow. But, I mean...
And my household is very, very big UNC basketball fans, so legally I cannot in any sense of the world say that I would like Duke to win, because I might not be allowed at family Christmas anymore.
But this is why you have me, so I can say it. I would love to see Duke win, just because why not? It would just make things so much more interesting.
Just to see what it does.
Exactly. And there's so much argument right now about who deserves a spot and who doesn't, that I just think it would be so much fun to upset people even more.
So, while we're talking about the playoffs, just kind of the bracket right now, we kind of filled in our bracket, just kind of how we would like it to go, or kind of mostly see it going.
With the current rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily our picks for next week.
For those watching on YouTube, I'll put a picture of our bracket up on the screen.
Yes.
But we have the winner of, Conference Champ 5 in Oregon being Oregon, moving on to play number 4, Texas Tech. We have the winner of Bama, Oklahoma being Oklahoma in a perfect world, going on to play Ohio State.
Yes.
And then we have Conference Champ number 4 in Ole Miss, winner being Ole Miss going on to play Georgia again, number 3. And then Notre Dame A&M. We had a little bit of discussion about this.
We did.
Because
I think we said we'd look for A&M to win close again. But granted, Notre Dame still hasn't played anybody. But, get a conference. That is a conversation for another day. We could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah. But then A&M moving on to play number 2 Indiana.
Yeah. Which I really can't make a firm decision about that game, about who would win. I really can't.
I think our general consensus was that we needed to watch the Big Ten and actually see Indiana play against Ohio State and kind of see how that game goes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. And then for Oregon and Texas Tech, we had Texas Tech moving on to play Ohio State. I don't know where else you thought that was going.
Yeah.
And then, not just because of a Georgia bias, I think that we have everything in place to actually beat them, but see Georgia moving on from that game.
I tend to agree. Take all of our, Georgia bias out. You just give us the straight facts. I think I would still take Georgia.
Mm-hmm. And then we couldn't really make a decision on A&M versus Indiana, but
we think Georgia beats either one.
Yeah. I think from strength of schedule point of view, I think for the way that we beat teams, and not just because we play the bottom of our conference, Georgia historically plays the top of our conference.
We've played some pretty decent teams.
Every single season.
Yep.
And Tech, who has been, our most consistent non-conference game, has stepped up in the last 2 seasons astronomically. We've continued to beat them, and I'll say played kind of well. We played bad on Saturday.
Yeah.
But we stay competitive. I don't think there's any one thing that can really count Georgia out.
I don't think so either.
I think that anywhere we finish, though, getting this far, I think is more than any Georgia fan expected this season, especially not knowing what Gunnar would bring to the table and what Bubba would be able to bring out of him. I think that we've seen one of the best pairings, and I think it's gone better than any of us thought it would.
I think if you had told me after the Austin Peay game that Georgia would be 11-1 with the loss to Bama and in the SEC championship, as well as all but guaranteed to make the playoffs, I would have told you were nuts.
And we're the number 3 seed right now.
Yeah, we are. And if Georgia wins the SEC championship, we would move up to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ohio State or Indiana has to lose and one of them's going to drop. So, I don't know. We'll see. See how that goes. I'm actually really excited for this weekend because it's going to have a lot of implications on who actually makes the playoffs. And I don't know. I just want people to be upset, so I want the bad teams to win.
Yes.
It's just so much fun.
And with that, and this weekend comes the official Selection Day show, which we are super excited about, and we are going to do our own little ESPN bracket pick.
Yes, we are.
So we'll talk about that a little bit on the show. We'll make our brackets, and then we'll see how far we get with that, how correct we are, but...
You may see the whiteboard. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
It will.
Playoff season is always fun. The regular season becomes with whatever it has become.
But, wow, that was quite a regular season, actually. One of the more eventful that I can remember.
Definitely one of the most memorable.
Yes, absolutely. Made things fun for us. But, yeah. But I guess we'll kind of talk about some of the bubble teams. We, I don't know if you can put the picture on the board again or not, but in the library a couple nights ago, we completely mapped out all of the playoff possibilities, because that's what we do instead of studying. But I think your pretty well locks are Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana, probably Texas Tech, regardless if they win or lose. But then you've got a lot of teams that are kind of on the bubble and who all kind of have their own separate arguments of, well, this is why we should be in the playoff. And I don't know.
I think Texas wants one. I don't think they get one.
You got beat bad by a terrible Florida team. Unfortunately, I think that counts you out. But I did see Coach Sark say that if they don't make the playoff, they're going to consider changing their schedule because they got beat by Ohio State so early in the season and they feel like they're getting penalized for it. Which, you know, if you're Ohio State and don't play anybody and still get the number 1 spot, what motivation do you have to play the hard teams and lose because nobody cares?
Who was it? I think it was Kirk Herbstreit. He pointed out I think because of that, you're going to see a lot of ADs changing schedules here in a bit because if early season wins are penalized over late season wins, they're all going to change their schedules. You're not going to see a single decent game until they're required 9 conference games.
It's going to be all cupcakes because what motivation do you have to play a top 10 team and potentially lose when that's probably going to keep you out of the playoffs? Because no matter how much the committee says that they are valuing strength of schedule, they're not. So, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I definitely look for schedules to change.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how drastically they change or what schools think that they are above good early season games, but
that loss for Florida really does keep you out.
That's what did it.
It's terrible.
If they had beat Florida, I'd listen to you, but
you
not here.
That was terrible. So, I'm gonna pretty firmly say that they're out. Like, honestly, no matter how the bracket shakes out, I just don't think they have an argument because of that loss.
They're gone.
I think so too.
But, you know, whichever way it works, playoff season is always really fun, especially right up until the end. I think with the branching out of the playoff, we get to see all of these new crazy scenarios, like number 17 making it to the playoffs when you had to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was it.
Yep.
So, very interested to see how it all goes, and just knowing that there's still so much at stake and so much could go horribly wrong is so entertaining.
It is. It really is.
So, I think with that being said, thank you for tuning into Hail Mary Hotline. I'm your host, Sarah.
I'm your host, Taylor.
Go Dogs!